Welcome to Slaughterhouse Stories. I hope you enjoy the story I have for you tonight.
A fresh new start.
Julia thought everything was going to be okay. She thought she was going to be okay. She thought the painful memories and the torment of the past wouldn't follow her. That this fresh new start meant a happy ending for her, finally. She missed her old home so much most days. The laughter and the playing. The love she felt from her mommy and grandma. Her uncles would play tricks on her mommy, using her. Sure, it could come off as a little mean, but some of them were really quite funny. Like when they hid her so that mommy couldn't find her for an hour or so. Her mommy and grandma were so angry at Uncle Chris. But when mommy finally found her, she got the tightest hug she'd ever gotten from her. And that made the trick worth it. But the things that happened still haunt her. The clothes may be gone, and they may have washed the blood from her innocent-looking face. But the memories still stain her in ways that can never be cleaned off. Have you ever had to watch your entire family, everyone you love, killed in brutal and horrific ways? No? Then how could you hope to understand Julia, and how much she hoped everything was going to be better now? But it wasn't. It was only temporary. Once again, Julia's new family took her in for a few years. And then the talk started. Mary's getting a bit older. Perhaps it's time for her to get rid of all her dolls. All of her dolls. What? No! Not again! Julia was as angry as ever. Why? Why was yet another family going to just throw her away after they brought her home and promised to love her forever? Why? This was the fourth family, and it didn't get any easier. The look on Granny's face as she opened her eyes to find Julia, tiny, innocent-looking Julia, in her purple dress with pink and white flowers, and an orchid in her hair, holding the claw side of a hammer point down. Granny was too shocked to move. And suddenly, Julia's pretty dress, her perfect skin, and her pretty auburn hair was splashed with the deep crimson of Granny's blood, as she brought the hammer down over and over and over again. She didn't expect to hear Mary gasp behind her. She thought she'd have time to be quiet. But Mary took off running, and Julia was running quickly behind her. Mary was terrified, and that fear is what led to her tripping and falling down the steps, banging her head and knocking herself out when she reached the bottom. Mary awoke to find herself tied to a chair in the living room. She didn't understand how Julia lifted a 16-year-old girl into the chair. She didn't understand any of this. Julia's just a doll, a stupid, silly, ragged doll. But that didn't stop Julia from screaming at her, that she shouldn't have been so willing to leave her, that she said she'd love her forever. She was nothing but a liar, like all the other ones. Fine. If this is the way you want it to be, then Julia would treat you like the rest. You could have been friends forever, she says, as she pours gasoline over Mary. You could have given her to your daughter, and so on, for 50 or 100 years. But no, you'd rather throw her away, your oldest friend. Well, Julia said, have it your way. Someone else will take me in. And with that, Julia struck a match and threw it onto Mary. The only thing louder than the fire engine sirens were the screams for the first few moments, and the sound of laughter. The fire department put out the fire, but it was too late. It was obvious people were murdered, but they couldn't find much evidence. All they found was an innocent-looking doll, splattered with blood, but otherwise unharmed. Alex Florio was just a rookie with the fire department, but still, he knew he shouldn't be removing evidence. This doll, Julia he decided to call it, though he didn't know why, needed to go with the police to help solve the case, but he couldn't help it. With a good washing, this doll would be the perfect gift for his daughter. That's it for tonight's story. But before we end things, check out the Slaughterhouse Stories podcast. Available to all your favorite podcast sites. So download and subscribe. Be a listener, not a victim. And as always, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed tonight's story, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time,
Stay spooky.